So the nurse is by herself on the south side of Chicago at 11 p.m. She just knocked on the door and somebody opened the door, but she can't tell who's behind it. So once the door opens slightly, she asks again, "Hello, is anyone there?" She's looking inside the door, but it is pitch black. She's thinking, should I run? But something is telling her not to run right now because it can be real dangerous for her. Her palms are sweaty. Her heart is beating really fast. At this point, she's starting to believe that she made the wrong decision. She takes a deep swallow as her hands are shaking. See, the house she is at is a little bit older, and she can tell that the person behind the door is moving because of the flooring. She can tell that the person is shifting their weight by the way the floor is cracking because the floor is so old. And the more noises she hears coming from the floor, the more she freaks out. Her heart is racing so fast she's starting to feel like she's about to have a heart attack any second. Palms are sweaty. She grips her shirt really tight. And then the door opens all the way. She takes a deep breath and prepares for what is about to happen. So she says one last time, "Hello." Nothing but silence again. Next thing you know, somebody jumps out. When they jump out, they automatically grab her and squeeze her really tight. Her heart was already beating fast, but now it's so fast she feels like she's about to faint. She screams to the top of her lungs. She's freaking out, shaking, screaming, but don't know what to do. Then she stops and realizes that the person that just grabbed her is not that big. Now the person actually jumped back and said, "Is everything okay?" The nurse really can't see like that. She usually wears glasses and it's really dark at night. So she pulled out her phone, turned on her flashlight and turned it towards the person. And then she realized it was actually the little girl she was looking for. So she takes a deep breath and says, "Oh, I'm so sorry. You startled me." The little girl says, "Are you here to come pick me up?" She said, "Yeah, I can pick you up. Where's your mommy and daddy at?" She says, "My daddy died, but I don't know where my mommy at." So then she asks her, "Why are you sitting in the dark?" She said, "Mommy can't pay the bill to keep the lights on, so that's why we sit in the dark." So she says, "When the last time have you seen your mommy?" She said, 3 days ago. My brother is the one that usually take care of me." She put her head down with both her hands on her face and says, "Oh my gosh." She said, "Do you know where your brother is right now?" She was like, "No, I was waiting for him to come home. He usually just tell me to sit here and don't open the door. But I heard gunshots earlier and I was scared." But little did the little girl know it was her brother that was being shot. Now the nurse is beyond emotional and she don't know what to do at this point. But since the little girl haven't seen her mother for 3 days, she believes that she should put the little girl in the car with her and take her to the hospital for her brother. So she asks her, "Have you ate today?" The little girl says, "No, but I am hungry." So she says, "You want to go get some White Castles?" The little girl jumped up out of excitement and said, Yes, I would love White Castles. I would love White Castles." So she says, "Okay, come with me so we can go get you some White Castles." They both get in the car and drive out of the neighborhood before they stop at a White Castles. So once they stopped at White Castles, they went to the gas station, got some snacks for her and her brother, and then they drove back to the hospital. So the young man is still in the hospital bed with nobody there with him. The nurse pulls up to the hospital with his sister and he freaks out of happiness, and the sister freaks out because she don't know what just happened. So the little boy is smiling, happy to see his sister, is happy to see that he had White Castles. So the sister asks him, "So what happened?" He looks at her and says, "Well, I got shot, Layla." Layla's little heart was broken. She's looking at her brother and tears are rolling down her face. She's thinking, if I would have lost my brother, I would have had nobody. So Layla asks, "Did you almost die?" He says, "Layla, I could have died." She grabs him and gives him a big hug. Now, even though he's shot and he injured and it hurts that she's squeezing him, he's just even happy that he get a chance for his sister to hug him again. So even though he is in excruciating pain, he don't even care at this moment. So with his right arm, he wasn't shot in, he grabbed Layla and pulled her back a little bit and said, "Layla, I'm not gonna ever leave you. I love you. You all I got." His sister crying and saying, please don't leave me because you all I got. I don't know what I would do without you. He brings Layla back in and said, I promise you I'm going to make our life better. I promise you it's just going to be me and you. So as all this is going on, the phone gets to ringing in the hospital. The little boy looks over to the phone and says, wait, is this for me? The nurse thinking to herself, okay, if they don't got no family, who could this be? So she says, yeah, it's for you. So he's still confused. He don't know who this could be calling for him. So he picks up the phone and says, hello? And the person said, hey, baby, this is your Aunt Susan. Your uncle just told me what happened to you, and I'm sorry that happened to you. I understand that he don't talk to your mother like that, and I understand she's not doing well. But I definitely want to come pick you up and pick your sister up so y'all can have a place to stay. He said, wait, I called my uncle today and I told him I needed a place to stay and I needed his help, but he hung up on me. She said, baby, don't worry about that. I talked to him after he told me what happened. And remember, you family, so I'm going to make sure you taken care of. I know you not my blood nephew, but you his blood nephew, so that makes you my nephew. And at this point in time, he has mixed emotions. Because he don't understand why his blood uncle wouldn't show him this much love, but a woman that's not his blood auntie would show him more love than his blood uncle. Tears are rolling down his face at this point. And now Layla and the nurse is kind of confused on what's going on. As he's trying to hold in his emotions, he's get to crying saying, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. She said, I know what hospital you at. I'll be there when I get off work. So once he hung up the phone, his sister was like, who was that? He smiled at her and said, his auntie. She said, we can come to our house and she gonna make sure we taken care of. His little sister put her hands to her face and started shaking. Because now she feels like she get to live in a household with running water, people gonna cook for her, the lights is gonna be on, the normal things that she felt like she should have as a little girl. But as all that is going on, a doctor walks into the room with them. He looks at him and says, hey, young man, I got some bad news. So he looks at the nurse looks at him, then they look at Layla, and all of them confused. What could he say? The doctor put his head down and says, I'm sorry, but